I'm honored to introduce our moderator tonight, Liz Stanton, our Director of Grants and Education for the Hawaii Agricultural Foundation. As of yesterday, she celebrated 7 years with Hawaii Agricultural Foundation, and during that time, she has overseen our education programs in partnership with the Hawaii Department of Education. All of these programs that Hawaii Agricultural Foundation has are aligned with DOE standards, ensuring students receive meaningful classroom-connected experiences. Under her leadership, these programs now reach an average of 5,000 students and 200 teachers annually, helping to build Hawaii's agricultural workforce pipeline. Through Liz's guidance, HAF has developed a full K-12 ag education continuum. Where Would We Be Without Seeds introduces kindergartners through second graders, introduces K through second graders learners to farming basics. VeggieU engages grades 3 through 5 in science, sustainability, and nutrition. Tarapar brings ag tech to middle schools with vertical growing systems. Our YEP program, Young Entrepreneurs Program, gives students real business experiences creating and selling products made from local ingredients. And In the Fields takes students to traditional, organic, and high-tech farms to explore real-world ag careers firsthand. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Liz Stanton.
Thank you, Denise. Aloha and good evening, everyone. My name is Liz, as she mentioned, and it's actually been 7 years and 1 day. So I've been excited to work with Hawaii Ag Foundation in all of that time, and I'm happy to meet and see all of you tonight. Tonight, I'm pleased to serve as your moderator and lead the discussion about something that impacts us all: how to nourish Hawaii's future. Our farmers are aging, and workforce shortages threaten our food security. If we want Hawaii to feed Hawaii, we must grow not only crops, but also the next generation of farmers, educators, and innovators. And that work starts early. By the time students reach 8th grade, it's often too late. We need to spark curiosity in agriculture when kids are still young, so that they see the many paths this field can offer. Our task is to figure out how we can do this. Each of our panelists here tonight represents a piece of this puzzle, and together, like all of you, we share the same goal: to build an ag workforce pipeline that ensures Hawaii's future generations can continue to feed our islands. So let's plant the seeds today, because the future of Hawaii depends on it. So, we're going to start by introducing our distinguished industry leaders. Panelists, welcome. Please take 30 seconds to introduce yourselves and give a brief overview of what you do. We'll start with Superintendent Keith Hayashi.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Keith Hayashi, Superintendent of the Hawaii Department of Education. I oversee the department's 258 schools across all islands, 140,000 students, 160,000 students, 40,000 employees, and fortunate to work with a bunch of great and committed people. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we have Natalie McKinney. Yes. Natalie, will you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Aloha, my name is Natalie McKinney, and I am the Chief Operating Officer at Kokua Hawaii Foundation. We are a nonprofit that supports environmental education in the communities as well as in the schools. We have 5 school programs and 3 programs that happen on our Kokua Learning Farm in Haleiwa. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Next, I'm pleased to welcome Jeff Goodwin.
Hello, Jeff Goodwin. I'm the State 4-H program leader here in Hawaii. Been here for about 9 years. Been with Extension for about 42 years. So been working in 4-H most of that time. Spend most of my time coordinating, helping county extension agents in the state and other 4-H program staff to help manage and run the program. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And wrapping up our panelists, we have Brittany.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany James. I work for Maui Economic Development Board STEMWorks program as the Agriculture Program Manager. In my role, I run our Ag Business and Technology Internship Program. I also make curriculum for teachers and professional development opportunities for them, as well as other events for students to get involved in agriculture.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Okay. So I'm going to sit down with them, and I have a few questions to ask all of our panelists tonight. Okay, so tonight our first question is for Superintendent Hayashi. As plans to build the regional kitchen in central Oahu move forward, how is the DOE preparing students for agriculture and food systems career, especially with jobs already on the decline in agriculture?
Thanks, Liz. The regional kitchen actually is it's a game changer for us in the Department of Education. We're looking at, through the regional kitchen, being able to expand and focus on our culinary programs, really looking at food entrepreneurship, as well as our farm-to-school efforts. When we look at our K-12 pipeline, it was touched on earlier, that we do want to provide opportunities for our students, not only in high school, but even early on. So students can, through experiences, really build their knowledge as well as their commitment to the ag programs. One example that was shared earlier is through Hawaii Ag Foundation, that really supports our schools. So really fortunate to have great partners there. Also, we want to redefine ag in Hawaii, really looking at ag as being a vital area of growth, as well as incorporating technology and really being community-driven to support and feed and sustain Hawaii.
Thank you, Superintendent. Okay, Natalie, next question is for you. Kokua Hawaii Foundation has built strong school-based food and garden programs through Aina in the schools. What lessons have you learned about engaging students early that could inform statewide ag education?
So one of the programs at Kokua Hawaii Foundation is Aina in Schools. It's a farm-to-school program that was started in 2006. We use the word Aina as an acronym for actively integrating nutrition and agriculture in schools. We currently work with 25 Oahu elementary schools, and over 11,000 elementary students are engaged this school year in the program. And some things that we've learned early on is that when you give students the opportunity at a very young age to grow their own food, to put their hands in the soil, they're going to try those foods, they're going to eat those foods, they're going to develop a palate for fresh vegetables as well as fruits. And they're going to understand and have an appreciation for agricultural literacy. They're going to know where their food comes from. We want them to know their farmer. And we've just learned a lot of I've seen students and I've met students who have actually participated in the Aina in Schools program and said, oh, I remember the poi smoothie. I still make one of those every day. Today I actually just interviewed a young woman, and she was participated in the Aina in Schools program from kindergarten, and she said, participation in that program really changed my worldview. I now have a greater appreciation for food and for the food system, as well as everything that I put into my body. So we know that getting them at an early age is really important.
Yeah, that's so true. The earlier the better, right? Yes, thank you, Natalie. Okay, our next question, Jeff. 4-H and FFA both play important roles in preparing youths for careers in agriculture. Here in Hawaii, what does 4-H look like on the ground?
4-H on the ground level in this state, we reach about 4,000 kids a year through 4-H program delivery, and that's in a lot of different ways. 500 or 600 of those are through community 4-H clubs around the state. About 1,000 of those are school-based programs that we do. 200 of them are kind of short-term camp situations. About 2,000 a year are through the military 4-H program that we have. So it's an important program that we do here with all the military families that we have in the state. So that's some of the different ways we reach kids. The big thing that we have going for us is we have about 250 volunteer leaders scattered around the state. They're the ones out there on the ground level where the rubber meets the road and making things happen out there at the club level and the county level. So they're so important to the program too. We can't do it without them. So that's kind of a rough overview. I do know, in talking with, I've got our 4-H agent in the crowd, wave Christine. She's interested, I know, in working with 4-H, with FFA, however we can, to create some teamwork here and some partnerships to see how we do a better job reaching both of those audiences. And I think we're interested in that. If anybody has an interest in that, catch Christine. Also have our military 4-H coordinator in the crowd, Tina, wave at us. And so 4-H military is so important, and Tina does contacts not only here in the state, but in the whole Pacific Basin. The way I understand it, most military installation, U.S. military installations in the world have a 4-H club or presence of some kind. So it's important. And so I'll just turn it over there. If you have any questions, those would be two good, great ladies to visit with tonight about those. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Our next question, Brittany. From the work that you do, what do you think are the biggest barriers students face when considering agriculture as a career? Can you tell us about some of the opportunities being provided to help get students interested in these careers?
Sure. There are quite a few barriers, I would say. There's not enough land or water resources for them to even become farmers and ranchers and things like that. I'd say a lot of students don't necessarily want to go out and get dirty and do like the hard labor as well. Then there's like the input costs and feed costs and everything like that. Everything is so expensive. There's like just a lot. Like we could probably go on and on about the barriers, but some of the things that we do at STEMworks to, get students interested in agriculture and excited about it. We do like middle school ag field days, trying to get them in earlier so that they can explore different agricultural careers. We also do like competitions for students so that they can get some real world, like facing what problems the people in agriculture are facing and help them solve them. Along with that, we also run my ag business and technology internship program, which is probably like our most successful program that we have there for agriculture. And we place students in different host companies across Maui County. And they work 120 hours each semester, fall, spring, and summer, that they do the internship. They get a stipend at the end of it and get a lot of like hands-on real world experiences with these host company mentors. And so far, we've placed over 250 interns across Maui County at over 70 different host company locations. So.
That's really great, Brittany. Thank you. Okay, round 2. Here we go. Superintendent. Beyond traditional farming, what role do you see ag education playing in preparing students for new opportunities like ag tech, food systems, and entrepreneurship?
I think it's really important to provide opportunities for our students to gain real-world opportunities like Brittany had shared. And the department really fortunate. For example, our students recently partnered with Loon Farm, and they were able to see the full scope of Loon's production as well as the back of the house and and the whole works. And so students from I think the Pro City, Waipahu, Campbell, and I think it was Kapolei that participated in that. And so those students all really gained a lot. They were excited. Also, when we look at ag education, it's not just about the traditional ag, but it's also about how do we incorporate business planning, how do we incorporate innovation and different aspects that we can really get those creative juices going in students. And so then I think back to the to YEP, the Young Entrepreneurs Program. And if you haven't been to one of those events, you got to go. I went with my wife and we went to check it out. And I tell you, students were amazing. How they were so passionate and so enthusiastic about sharing their product and the process that they went through. And what was great was that when we went, there was actually an ATM machine there. And actually it was good because my wife spent all our money, and then we went to the ATM machine. We had to get more because actually the students did a really great job. And it showed. And those are the kinds of experiences, I think, that we need to continue to provide to students through different partnerships. So I think, ag education, being able to support Hawaii and the whole issues with sustainability, and I think it's an exciting time, as long as we continue to work together and move forward.
Yeah, thank you, Superintendent. And the internship this past summer with Loon Farms, I know Hawaii Ag Foundation and the DOE, we have a partnership together, and we were able to help make that happen. I know the students really had a great time with that. Thank you. Okay, Natalie, next up. How do we ensure programs like yours not only inspire students, but also connect them to long-term pathways into Hawaii's ag workforce?
Yeah, so as part of the Hawaii Farm to School Network, we've been doing a lot of work from the P20 agricultural curriculum or continuum, excuse me. So from ECE or preschool all the way into the collegiate level. And what we do know is that in Hawaii, over 90% of the schools have a school garden, and those school gardens are used for educational purposes. The first being science, second CTE, and third Hawaiian studies. So the statistics are very high in Hawaii for exposure to agriculture, and I think that the work that we are all doing on the collective, each island has their own networks of educators, of nonprofits, of different organizations that are working together to offer students the opportunity to engage in agriculture, and not just agriculture, but INA-based education. We're seeing a tremendous influx in students who are interested in working or going to Lo'i. As Brittany shared with me last night, the number one host site is a Lo'i, that the students, that's the number one place where they would like to go, and you have the highest numbers of students wanting to go there. So I think that we're seeing, not just in our traditional agriculture education, but also in some of our indigenous growing practices as well. And we're just very pleased. I know Superintendent shared about the junior CTE program. I know in Hawaii we have a really high number of intermediate FFA programs, and we're seeing those increasing as well. And so I think that we're really poised and in a really beautiful place right now to see agriculture education, P20.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Okay, next question, Jeff. In your experience, how has 4-H helped spark young people's interest in agriculture and shaped their pathways towards ag-related careers?
Okay. I need to first talk about, we've got a national initiative going right now nationwide in 4-H. It talks about making sure young people are prepared for careers, prepared for life. And when we talk about career ready, I got to tell a success story about a Maui County kid, Logan Lung. You probably know him well. Amazing kid. When he was 12 years old, 3 years into 4-H, he was the champion livestock judger at the county level, beat all the high school kids because he was so into livestock evaluation. Had a good teacher over there, by the way, in the way of Kyle, for sure. But he did that. He also became very interested in meat goat production. He started selling goats to people, raising them and selling them, and he was the first Maui County goat producer to use embryo transfer in his herd. And that was as a 4-H kid. He also begged the local veterinary clinic if he'd hang around there and volunteer at the vet clinic, and they finally let him. And he hung around there enough. He got enough hours in. He got his veterinary tech certificate from Texas A&M. They actually put him on the payroll when he was in high school and gave him a beeper and said, "You're a part-time employee at the vet clinic." He's now a freshman at Texas Tech, planning to be a veterinarian. He's in the pre-vet program. His goal is to come back to Maui County as a large animal veterinarian. So that kid's success through 4-H has just been phenomenal, and I think we've got a lot of success stories like that. On the Ready for Life side, we always make sure, whether it's an ag project or not, we're trying to make sure that the project is only a vehicle to get us to positive youth development, and that's important. And whether we're teaching kids to work, how to work in teams, how to be cooperative, how to speak, all those things are so important. And with that, I'll say something. You probably heard this story, Scott. I've talked to a lot of business owners and managers in my career. And they say when they have vacancies for positions, they put all the 4-H and FFA applications here. Everybody else is over there. They work that 4-H and FFA alumni stack first. You ever heard that, Scott? So I think that's a pretty good indication that we are making these kids ready for life and ready for careers. So thank you.
That's wonderful. Okay, so our last question is for Brittany. How do we better connect ag education to real workforce opportunities so students see working in agriculture as a viable and rewarding career?
Well, I'd definitely say internships for sure, like before. Doing job shadowing, of course, but not all students are able to do that. It doesn't necessarily work with their school schedules, or they don't have transportation. So I'd say in terms of like what our teachers can be doing, of course, bringing in like guest speakers, having them talk about like what they do, the earlier the better, doing that kind of stuff, involving them in 4-H and FFA, of course, and then I know a lot of teachers now are having students get certifications and different things so that they're like coming out like career ready, ready to go. And then I'd also say just making sure that you have like relevant hands-on curriculum too, which I mean, we do a lot of that here at STEMworks too. So like I can point at quite a few teachers in the audience here that are implementing some of our curriculum and resources that we offer. So like Growing Beyond Earth, where they get to integrate ag tech. I'm definitely a big proponent of integrating ag tech. That's how we're gonna get these young people interested into agriculture and everything. But with the Growing Beyond Earth program, they're working with NASA and doing research experiments to kind of see what crops are gonna grow best in the International Space Station. And then also, I just developed some curriculum that goes along with the Mars Farm, which we do have some teachers in the audience using that as well. And it is like a tabletop greenhouse that like kind of automatically helps the plants grow, automatically waters them, collects the data with sensors, so the students don't even have to do much with it, right? They're just managing the plants by looking at their online software and things like that. So I'd say just trying to make sure that the students also know and realize that they can take any of their passions and desires and things that they want to do, what they value, and kind of translate it into a career in agriculture. Like it doesn't have to be farming and ranching and hard labor. You can take ag tech and put it into that, and you can take pretty much any CTE pathway that the kids are interested in, and that will translate into the agriculture sector, right? There's, ag technology, of course, then they could go into aquaculture, they could go into research or education, they could take their building and construction and like build things, engineering. There's so many ways that they can get involved in agriculture, and even like the marketing and business side of it, agritourism. Like, I just want students to realize that it doesn't have to be just hard labor, and they can do like anything they want within the agricultural field. So
That is so true. Thank you, Brittany. I definitely feel that all of us being here on the stage today, we all have this same goal in mind, right? How do we build our ag workforce pipeline? And just hearing about all the different things that we know what the DOE is working on, but Kokua Hawaii Foundation, 4-H, and Maui Economic Development Board is, in addition to Hawaii Ag Foundation, just understanding how we all are a piece of that puzzle. This has been really great. So with that, we are closing our panelist questions here, and now we're gonna open it up to the audience. Before I do that, I am gonna ask Scott Stump to come back up here. He's gonna take my place, and I'll be at the podium. And we have, I think, about 10 minutes for questions. Any questions? Okay, in the yellow shirt.
I was just wondering, has the students' tastes for fruits and vegetables changed enough that as the DOE transitions to healthier fruits and vegetables, are the kids going to eat them?
Superintendent, go right
Sure,
ahead.
I'll take it. I think that's a great question. I think there's, and it's a multifaceted answer, I think, a response. We want to provide students an array of opportunities for locally sourced, great tasting, not only fruits, but other meals that are created, taste great, locally sourced. We're supporting our local farmers that meet the USDA guidelines for reimbursable meals, and to provide students an opportunity to taste different things. I think when students are perhaps not exposed, they might be a little more finicky than others. But I think it's up to us to provide that opportunity and the education, so that hopefully, not hopefully, as we build out our regional kitchens, we change our menu. We're working with Culinary Institute of America, Culinary Institute of Pacific, and we change our menu, provide students opportunity to taste different kinds of foods, especially local foods, work with their families as they eat in the cafeterias and they enjoy these new items on our menu. Parents hopefully will say, hey, I want to know what my children are coming home and talking about. Then we can start to also not only impact what's happening in school, but what's happening in the home. And through ag, through locally sourced foods, we impact community, family health, and then eventually community health. So I think that's a great question. We do need to provide opportunities for our students to engage and experience different things. And I know that they will love what they're going to be eating, because I do.
Natalie, do you want to add to that?
And we do know if they grow it, they will eat it. They may have never tried a radish ever in their life, but if they plant that seed, they tend to that plant, and they harvest that radish, they wash it really well, and they eat it, they will say, this is the best radish I've ever eaten, and they will be radish lovers for life. And so what garden education does from very early on is we're establishing their palate. We see students who say, why do we eat canned pineapple when I drive through the pineapple fields on my way to school? So students are asking for fresh local food. We know that this is happening.
Yeah, the number one project we have in Hawaii 4-H is foods and nutrition related projects, and we see those exact same things happen with 4-H kids in those projects. Not directly agriculture. It's so important to teach kids where that food comes from and what it takes to grow it, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. Thank you. Okay.
Can I?
Yep, go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so my name is Michelle Winehouse. I came all the way from Lanai just for this. But I used to be an ag teacher on Lanai, CTE Natural Resources. I've done Brittany's STEMworks internship for I don't know how many years now. I can't get a student to come to my farm. I'm now a farmer on Lanai. I'm an advisor for 4-H. And if I had more time in the day, I probably would do something with Kupu too. Anyway, my thing is, I can't get interns to come to my farm. I know natural resources teachers get a gazillion emails to be part of some programs. They're swamped. And I think when I was a natural resources teacher, I was not a farmer. I came in as a science teacher and took on that teaching job. And I know a lot of CTE teachers are that way. They don't have the training. And I would challenge you, because I've learned this being a farmer, is to partner with a farmer. And I've done YEP. That's like that was a great education, not just for my kids, but for me as a farmer, that whole process. And so that collaboration that I did as the farmer 4-H advisor on Lanai, doing YEP first time last year was an incredible experience for me as a farmer, as well as my student. So I think the missing piece here is the farmer. They can bring the produce to the classrooms. They can bring those kids on field trips to their farm. They can engage them that way, so that when there's that internship that arises, that student will say, yes, I want to do that internship. I won't ghost you. That's I bet your biggest problem, Brittany, huh? And so anyway, I just would say maybe farming, the HFU, for instance, one of their pillars or one of the things that they want to focus on is ag education. They know that I'm 60. I became a farmer at 60. In 10 years, I am looking for that person who's going to take over my farm. Where is that person? And so that's why I do all of the ag education. And food security is so huge. The kids care about that. They really do. Education, yeah, they don't. I know I'm going to see my bananas if it ever gets into our school. I know I'm going to see it in the trash can. But it's part of that education. Bring them to the farm. Show them how I grew it. They can learn. They understand health, and that, there's a whole health epidemic with the community, diabetes, heart disease, within their own families. And I think that building that relationship between the farmer and the community, the schools, your programs, I think that would just make us so much richer.
We do see some amazing programs out all across Hawaii. Ma'o Organic Farms has an amazing internship program where they provide student scholarships to attend college and at whatever field they're interested in. Go Farm Hawaii is an amazing program. At the Kokua Learning Farm, we actually sublease 1.5 acres to a Go Farm graduate, giving them space to grow their own food as well as sell it to market. And I think that if we saw a lot more partnerships with maybe private landowners to give farmers more opportunities, students would also have more opportunities to engage with farmers. And so Ho'okua Aina, they also do great internship programs, and all of the internship programs that we've heard from you. And so I think that there are a lot of really beautiful pockets that are happening all throughout our islands. And thank you for being an educator. All the educators in this room are amazing. Jackie Freitas, where are you, Teacher of the Year? You're my rock star. When a Teacher of the Year is an agricultural teacher in a small little rural high school out in Wahiawa on a 3-acre farm that is GAP certified, we are doing something right.
Thank you. And Michelle, we just want to make sure that you talk with us after, because the Hawaii Ag Foundation has our In the Fields program. So if you're not already on our list, let's talk and get you part of that. Okay?
One other quick thing on that. Michelle, you bring up a good point. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are different.
Yes.
Just going to say it. They are different than all of us in the room. The good news is, and what gives me hope and what gives Joe Bramble with the National 4-H Council hope, is that both of those generations are looking for problems to solve, and they want the world to be different. And a part of it is exactly as you said. They want food to be as health. They're looking at that space. So when it comes to what their dietary hopes and dreams are and what tastes good and not, I have hope that they're going to explore in different ways than we would have. But the key is that ecosystem that connects them to those farmers. And as the work goes with the regional kitchens, my hope is that a part of that strategy will be an engagement of youth with the farmers that are bringing that product to the regional kitchens and engaging them as a cooperative or as a shareholder in that, or as, I think there's some great opportunity as this emerges to think about the whole ecosystem in addition to setting up the kitchens just themselves.
Thank you. We have one last question. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So speaking of Gen Z, so I'm part of the Gen Z kind of population demographic, whatever we want to talk about, Kainoa or Bronson. Many of you know me from different facets and different things. One of the things I wanted to kind of contribute from a youth perspective in this, it's weird being youth at 23, but the UN says 35. But anyway, is, I've always, for me personally, always wanted to go back to Aina, do farming. That's like my passion. Had to go into law because we recognize all the different barriers that come with accessing water, accessing land, all of these different things, especially here in Hawaii and its unique situation. But one thing I wanted to bring up was one of the troubles that I have with it and that I see as a barrier, not only for myself and my peers, is but how everything's been constructed around this idea of an ROI, a return on investment. Looking at the person as as a more quantitative way than versus a relational way. So if you want to do the best, go to a better school. $55,000 in debt the first semester. Not even talking about how couldn't qualify for the line of credit, disadvantaged background, even though you want to go back to the land. So there's a lot of barriers that need to seriously being talked about. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I know there's a lot of serious people in the room. But when everything's been structured around a transaction versus a relationship, at one point we called farming, we just called it hana. Ha, the breath of life, na, belonging to. Your contribution to life. That was its value. How do we start to shift these economics, the policies, to value a return on integrity? Because even now, this idea of taking out a loan and I'll pay it off by 50, 60, watching my grandparents work in their 90s and their 80s, like it's just not a reality. The world's gotten worse. The idea of a 401k for our generation, that's not there. We're lucky we got another 30 years looking at the current political situations. So if we're going to be serious and talk about how we need to get the youth involved, how do you give us and structure a future where we have a little bit of hope and want to pursue these things? When we talk about farmers, I appreciate all the mahi'ai, all the farmers. It's amazing that the people who feed the nation, who feed nations, still somehow find themselves at the short end of the stick because you make more money being a doctor, as my parents used to say. So we really need to rethink about how our societies are structured and how do we transition from transaction back to those relations. Now, I don't have the solutions. I look to bright minds of many of the people in these rooms, but I just wanted to highlight some of those barriers that I see for myself, my peers, and what I've been looking at too. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Bronson. Bronson is the former president of FFA for the state. And I just want to acknowledge you. I've always looked up to you from when you were like 16, and you always had a voice, and you always used your voice. And those are the voices that these programs are empowering. And I'm so happy that you went into law. You're going to be changing the world, and I just want to thank you. And so I think that all of these programs work to help give our youth a voice, and you are going to help us change the food system. You are going to help us rethink ROI. And so thank you for speaking up and showing up. And I love it when young people speak up, they show up at the ledge. When blue jackets show up, those legislators put down their iPads and they look around and they're hearing the voices. Youth voice matters. Mahalo. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. Brittany?
Yeah, I mean, I'd also like to point out that you don't necessarily need a degree to go into agriculture as well. So you could always like save a little bit of money that way. Go into trade school or just go get a certificate. I mean, I know so many people that have just started farming or, have been in it for only like 5 years or less or something, that were in completely different careers and had no agriculture background. And they're really successful now. They just valued that way of life and wanted to do it and made it happen. And I think that's something that, a lot of people could think about and keep in mind, especially young people. When I've done panels on our different events and things, they always seem to really like the fact that, you don't necessarily need an ag background to like learn about it on your own time and be successful at it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Brittany. And thank you all for your time tonight. Our time is up for questions, so I am going to pass it over back to Denise. Thank you so much, panelists. And we'll all be here this evening for the next section, so you can speak to all of us at that time. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Liz. I'm going to make it short because we're kind of over time, and I know the food's starting to smell good. So I want to acknowledge our chefs tonight before we move forward. Each of the dishes highlight a locally grown Hawaii ingredient perfectly aligned with our theme of building the next generation of farmers and food leaders. They also incorporated ingredients from the DOE school lunch list, showing how local food can make its way from farms to our schools and into our cafeterias and into our future regional kitchens. So please join me in welcoming our chefs, Colin Hazama from C4 Table, Robin Maii from FET and Mill FET, Jeremy Shigekane from the Prince Waikiki, and we have Vikram Gard from UMI. We are really, truly fortunate to have talented, community-driven chefs with us tonight. A big mahalo again to our presenting sponsor, Central Pacific Bank, and to all of our supporting sponsors. I want to thank Irish Shimabukuro. She's going to give us Calais eggs, but we're going to make you work for it this time. If you want your eggs, you're going to have to fill out our survey. So this will help us with our future events. We'll be able to evaluate our speakers and ensure the program meets your expectations. Once you complete the survey, you're going to receive information on how to redeem your eggs. The survey link will be emailed to you tonight, and there are QR codes posted around the room so you can fill it out while you're enjoying the rest of the evening. Surveys may be submitted from tonight through September 23rd. I also want to thank the Ulupona Initiative. I think I saw Keith. For sponsoring the industry price tickets for ag and food professionals, as well as supporting our Eat, Think, Drink tours. After each Eat, Think, Drink, we host small tours tied to the evening's theme. On October 16th, from 9 to 10 a.m., we'll visit Waipahu High School's new Integrated Academy Learning Center in the Academy of Natural Resources. I want to thank Waipahu High School's team for welcoming us on this tour. You're going to learn and see the latest ag tech innovations and how teachers are inspiring students to pursue careers in agriculture right in the public schools. So space is limited. Watch for your emails, and you'll have details on how to sign up. You can also watch the 29 other episodes of Eat, Think, Drink on YouTube. You go to our website and click Watch Now. And then we also are offering our Cake in the Kitchen with Mika the Sous Chef cookbook for $10. It's 50% off. It's a perfect gift for the little chef in your life. And you can purchase the Mika merchandise outside. Finally, I'm going to put a last plug in. So I never normally cross the line between Hawaii Ag Foundation and Hawaii Ag and Culinary Alliance, which is also known as Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. But I'm going to do it tonight because during this Hawaii Food and Wine Festival, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have something like an Eat, Think, Drink, but without the alcohol. It's going to be a daytime event on October 31st called the Feast Summit, and it will tie food, education, agriculture, sustainability, and tourism together. We're welcoming about 15 professionals and executive and leaders in all those areas to come down from wherever they are in the world to come speak. And then we're going to have panelists from our local community. And some of the panelists and speakers are notable. Peter Greenberg, who's a CBS travel editor. Elizabeth Blau. She's going to be talking about the business of dining. Michelle Nishan, who is going to be talking about the power and influence of the celebrity chef. We have Sean Sherman, who's going to be talking about heritage foodways. And we have Michael Bacher, who's a Culinary Institute of America president. We have all kinds of different things going on. There's going to be 11 Eat, Think, Drinks that day for you to choose from. So Keith told me that if you're interested, go talk to your principal because there's professional development money for this. And lastly, if you didn't get your parking validated, you can get your parking validated at the front. On behalf of Hawaii Agricultural Foundation, mahalo for joining us. The bar is now open. Please enjoy the food, drink, and each other's company. Have a wonderful evening and drive home safely.